there guys, this is me Malorian, and this will be another video in our kind of new player series. And this one here will be on tournaments. Now, if you are a new player who's been following along, basically at this point, hopefully you've kind of like found your way into a list, started figuring out what your play style is, starting to perfect your list, making your list pairing, and starting to kind of develop yourself as a player. And really then at this point here is where you're going to start hearing about and considering going to tournaments. And I know for new players it can be very daunting to try and get into the tournament scene. And this can be for a number of reasons. One, you might not feel that you're good enough to go to a tournament. Two, you just might not really know what even is involved. How do you even get into these things, and what do you have to do? And thirdly, you might actually hear some negative things about tournaments where like, ugh, I don't know if I even want to be a part of this. So what I want to do with this video here is pretty much dispel it all, because I am a massive fan of tournaments. Not only going to them, running them. I've run, man, I don't know how many tournaments now over the years, over all the systems, and they are just a fantastic thing. So I hope that by the end of this, you're going to be agreeing with me. So let's start with the first one, which is that you're not ready. And I think the very simple thing I can say is that if you're ready to go down and play at your local store on your whatever gaming day, you're ready to go to a tournament. If you're there and you got your two lists and you go down there and you find an opponent, you play your game, play against somebody else, head on home. Well, a tournament is really just that scaled up. I mean, really, instead of going down there and saying, oh, who's free a game? Oh, you're free? Okay, let's play over here. Why not? Well, you really have a tournament organizer who's going to be saying, oh, okay, you are going to be facing you on this table with this scenario. All right, and off you go. Now, you are going to be normally doing more than just like 2 games. Tournaments, you'll be seeing like 3 to 5 rounds, but they're just games. They're just games like you play any other time, so there's really no difference. Of course, the fact that there is more games means that you have to kind of dedicate more time to it, but even that's not all completely true, because there's nothing saying that you have to play through the whole tournament. If you go through and you've played 3 games, and you say like, you know what? That's good for me. Whether you're 3-0 or 0-3, if you're at that point, if you got a dinner date, if you're just tired, if there's a show you want to watch, you're free to go whenever you want. So that really is there open for you anytime. And if someone's really worried that maybe I shouldn't be at this tournament because I'm not an expert player, well, know that vast majority of the people out there are not master gamers, and that when you go out there to a tournament, sure, there's going to be the people who have really studied and they're at their top of their games, and you might face them, random draw earlier on, but the way the process works is that winners face winners, and then as well, people that lose their games will also face against other people who lost their games. So really, the more games there are in this tournament and the more games that you play through, the more likely that you'll be playing against someone of equal skill. So it really does a good job. Whereas, if it's a random day going there on the weekday to the store, you don't know who you're going to face. That's really like the first round of a tournament. And as the tournament goes on, you're really starting to find people that are on that same level as you. And the big thing is again, if you have this thought that I just don't know this game well enough and I'm not good enough to go and compete, playing against people of equal skill and knowledge level is the best way to learn this game. If you play against someone who's amazingly good and they crush you in 2 seconds, well, that's not going to teach you very much. If you're up against someone who's way worse than you and you crush them in 2 seconds, you're not learning very much. You need somebody that's about equal skill, so that you need to play at your top level in order to try to defeat them. And that's where you're going to find a tournament. Like I just said, that tournament is almost designed to try and find you that person. The other thing is too, is that, when you go to a tournament, you're going to be experiencing so many different lists from so many different people playing in so many different ways. And everybody out there is a happy person, It's not like you're going to go there and people are going to go and spit in your eye or anything like that. They're going to be like, hey, who are you? Good to meet you. Oh, what are you playing? Oh, that's awesome. And you're going to learn so much more, right? If you're going down and you play against the same 4 people every Wednesday at the local store or something like that, you might get really good at playing against those people's play styles and their favorite casters. But that's really just a small fraction of what this entire game is about. By going to events and seeing people coming in from this basement gaming group and this store and this city, as people come together, you're really experiencing a lot more of the game and experiencing a lot more play styles that you wouldn't have before. And you come out of that learning so much more. So if you're worried about going into a tournament because you're not ready, you are. And just don't worry about that whatsoever. So the next one then that we talked about is maybe you just don't know how to even get into this type of a thing. Well, the first thing you need to do is find out when they are. So probably the best way to do this is, if I know there's not really press gangers anymore, but if there's kind of a press ganger person that kind of like leads the community and runs events and stuff like that, or is always kind of like the go-to person for questions, ask them. So like, well, when's the next tournament? When's the next event that's going on? And they can tell you like, oh, this is going to be happening this weekend here. You know, this is where you go on Facebook, or you got to email this person. They're going to have all the details. And if not them, go talk to the stores. Go talk to the stores you go to and just say, hey, do you know if there's any events here going on that I can try and sign up with? And that's how you learn about these things. I mean, if you're one of those basement groups where, hey, you love getting together every Saturday, you and your buddies down in your garage or something like that, that's fantastic, but you're never going to make those connections. You're going to have to actively go out there and try and find these things. Of course, if you're on a Facebook group or something like that, hopefully, luckily, you have one for your area and they're posting up events. But it's that networking is where you're going to go and actually learn where these are happening. Now, there's so many different events out there. And so for me to really generalize this, it's very difficult, because some tournaments will be things where like, hey, bring 2 75-point lists and we're going to do what's called a steamroller, which is kind of like the default tournament. In other ones, they might be a Masters event where you might have like 3 lists. There might be a Champions event where you have to take from these certain 4 casters or whatever it is for your faction. You could be doing team events. You could be doing caster draft events. You could be doing events where it's mangled metal, where you can only be taking jacks or beasts. There's a lot of things out there, and who knows, maybe the local person just made up their own format. There's lots of stuff out there, and so the best way to learn what they're all about is probably 2 ways. One, if it's of an official type of privateer press format, go to their website. If you just Google up War Machine or Privateer Press and then Organized Play, they have it all listed there and say like, oh, here's the packets for Steamroller, here's the one for Masters, here's the one for Champions. And you can read through there and know exactly what you need to bring and exactly what's going to be happening when you go there. If it's not one of those and it's something else, well, that information is either going to be on the Facebook page or the website, or maybe the person that is running this needs to actually email it to you. But again, it's that giving that person-to-person contact to make sure you get that information and learn what it's all about. And again, if you have any questions, feel free just to ask. You know, when I put out tournaments, I always have people saying, oh, where am I supposed to be again? How much does it cost? Where does it go? And you know, I have no problem. As a tournament organizer, my goal is to run the biggest, best event I can. And if I can do that just by answering a couple of questions, yeah, you bet. I never go like, oh, here's this person asking me questions again. I'm always happy to answer any questions they might have. So again, figure out who's running this event or who knows about it and just ask questions. They're all going to be very happy to talk to you and make sure you have everything you need for that event. The last part I want to touch on is the negative connotations that are sometimes put on tournaments. And this can be coming from a lot of different reasons or a lot of different areas, but let's just try and focus on some of the major ones. And the first one is that the people at tournaments are there that are just going to be, you know, win at all costs and just going to be real jacks. I'm trying not to jackasses. Here I am, this Canadian doesn't want to swear. This is the type of person you're going to see in a tournament, is a guy like me. So you have this thought that these people, these tournaments are going to be jerks, and they're just going to be trying to be like grunting at you and cheating and all these things, whatever they can do to win. But the thing is, that's just not true. The secret cult of tournament players that crawl out of basements just to compete during tournaments and then slink away before the sun rises just doesn't exist. These are the same people that you play every day at the club. You know, if there's someone at the store that's always a jerk, guess what? They're going to be a jerk probably at the tournament too. At least there, the tournament organizer can say, you know, if they push it too far, you're out of here type of thing. But for the most part, as long as you don't live in a community of jerks, the same people that you play normally are the same people you're going to be playing at an event. And not only that, I find that at the event, things are even nicer, because when I go and I'm trying to play a regular weekday game somewhere, well, you know, people are really kind of watching their time. They're like, ooh, I got to make sure I get this bus coming back. Let's keep this thing going. You know, they want to make sure that they're done this game so that they can play another one, or some things like that can sometimes come up. But at a tournament, everyone has dedicated that time to just come and enjoy the hobby they love. They are all just going to come here to enjoy their time. If they have a fast game, great. Now they have more time to grab a drink, go grab some food, check out the other games. Just the atmosphere alone of so many people that enjoy the same hobby as you are all together in this same place is such an amazing thing to go to. Again, if you have your garage full of 4 people, you know, there's some nice camaraderie that comes from that, some good friendship. But when you have a hall of 14, 20, 50, 100 people that are all loving this same game as you, that is something very special and very unique, and everyone's going to be having a great time. I said before that if after 2 games you're just done and want to go home, you are completely free to do that, but my guess is that you're going to want to be there for the entire thing. You're going to want to be there, and if nothing else, just hanging out and having lots of fun doing, again, this game that you clearly enjoy. So for all these things where you're worried about all these negative stuff, it's just not going to happen. That's not what you're going to see, except from the usual jerks that you might have that you already know about. There's nothing special about tournaments. It's just basically more people together having more fun. So that's really it. That's really tournaments in a nutshell for the new player. In summary again, if you don't think you're ready, don't worry, you are. I don't even care if you just have one list. You aren't forced to bring 2 lists with you. Bring that one list and go have fun. If you can play in the store, you can play here. If you want to learn more information, either you can look up information on the Private Press website under Organized Play, or just talk to the store owner, the tournament organizer, or really just anyone in the area that's knowledgeable, and just ask questions. So like, hey, what's this all about? What do I need to bring? Where do I need to go? Who do I need to talk to? And they're going to be more than welcome to helping you. And then finally, if you're worried about tournaments because all these bad people are going to be mean, just don't worry about that. This is going to be one of the best experiences that you're going to be having in your hobby, is when you're having all the people there enjoying it and just wanting to be there, enjoying their hobby. So there you go. I have hopefully changed your mind, and as a new player, you want to run out there and play some tournaments. But again, if you have any other questions about tournaments and what you should expect or anything like that, please feel free, post it down below. I'll answer those questions as well as I can. And otherwise, we'll catch you later. Bye.